Hello, everyone. I'm AT Storm Track meteorologist Austin Haskins. Once again, we had some very warm conditions across western Wisconsin. Highs back well into the 80s again yesterday. We got to 87 in Eau Claire. Menominee was also at that same mark. Osceola, Minneapolis, and Siren all got to 87 as well. 82 in Medford and I had that wrong. It was 82 in Ladysmith. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. I'm AT Storm Track meteorologist Austin Haskins. Once again, it was a very warm day across western Wisconsin. Highs well into the 80s once again. Closer to 80 farther to the east. We got to 87 in Eau Claire. Menominee, Chautauqua, and Osceola also got to 87 as well. 86 for Rice Lake and in Red Wing. Now, we did see those dew points come up a little bit yesterday, so you did at least notice it a little bit as they climbed into the 50s, and that did allow for a few pop-up showers and isolated storms to develop in the afternoon, but most spots ended up staying on the dry side. Today, we will have another chance for those pop-up showers and storms in the afternoon, but the coverage today is a little bit higher than yesterday, so that means we'll see an increase in the number of showers and storms around. We are going to see a chance for more showers and storms on Thursday, especially in the afternoon, and that does pose a risk for strong to severe storms, and we're also going to have some gusty winds Thursday and Friday, and even lingering into Saturday as well. So let's take a look at future track here. We'll start with the graph model. These are the two of the higher resolution models, and this is just, one example of how things could play out over the next 36 hours. So you can see by the afternoon again, we get into the peak heating of the day. Dew points today up around 60. Temperatures back into the 80s. We'll get the fuel needed for those showers and isolated storms to pop up. Again, severe weather not expected at all, but maybe a heavier downpour or two. Maybe a brief gusty wind or some pea-sized hail can't totally be ruled out. Now, as we get into tonight, things will quiet down again. We're going to be watching this complex of storms coming through South Dakota, which will be severe in that part of the area very late tonight, and rolling through southern Minnesota. Now, this is 5:30 tomorrow morning, and you can see it is just west of Interstate 35. Now, a lot of the data suggesting this will weaken as it gets towards our area, but this run of the future track does have it coming into western Wisconsin around 8 to 9 a.m. Now, whether or not it is severe remains to be seen, but I think that cap in the atmosphere is going to hold, so we'll likely see these storms either at or just below severe levels, or at least at the minimum. But then that fizzles out, and we'll actually see sunshine, which is not a good thing because that will make the atmosphere more unstable. And in the afternoon, the signs are for that cap in the atmosphere to break, and that's when we see that second wave of storms develop anytime between about 2 and 4 p.m. off to the west as a cold front comes through, and it'll quickly move through by the time we get into that early evening time frame. So now let's take a look at the HRRR model, and this one does have a little bit of a different look to it, as you'll see here coming up, but it's also showing not much for shower or isolated storm activity for today. So again, just be on the lookout for a couple of those pop-up showers and isolated storms this afternoon. Now, tomorrow morning, 5:30, doesn't really have much here, but you notice it does show that line of storms weakening, and it is west of us, so it'll stay west of the Minnesota-Wisconsin border. But as we get into the afternoon, it has the storms developing, but it has it developing from about Turtle Lake, Eau Claire to Black River Falls, north and east. So this would favor the northeastern parts of the area for strong to possibly even severe storms. Then it's out of here by early evening. So there's still a lot of, at least some questions on the exact timing and the placement of the storms. But we do maintain a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather in place. And that includes basically all of our counties in western Wisconsin. Now, breaking down the categories for the hazards, tornado risk is on the low side of the scale. It's in the brown scale. And when you look at the percentages of it, this is a 5% chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a given point. Now, keep in mind, when you think of these numbers, you might not think that's a high chance, but again, severe storms and tornadoes impact a small area. So within western Wisconsin or a 25-mile radius, there is a 5% chance or a low chance of an isolated tornado. Now, the hail risk is up to about 15 to 30%, and it also could be on the significant side, which means we could see hail bigger than 2 inches in diameter, and the wind risk is also medium to high as well. And that is, again, 15 to 30%. Again, numbers are low, but that means there's about a 15 to 30% chance of hail or wind within 25 miles of a given point. But that also means there's a 70 to 85% chance of that not occurring. So again, Matt discussed this in his weather story last night, so you can check that out there. I'll attach it to my weather story this morning if you need a little more clarification on that. But again, breaking it all down, hazards I'm mostly thinking are hail and damaging wind gusts. Could see hail bigger than golf balls, winds maybe up to 75 miles per hour, and again, a low risk for a tornado. Now, the timing, again, as I mentioned, 2 to 8 p.m., give or take about an hour on each side, but the risk does remain conditional. As I mentioned, the cap holding, if that holds, we don't see anything, or until it breaks, where that happens. And also if we have any showers or storms early in the day. The speed of the cold front is going to be key too. If it comes through faster and the cap holds, then the storms will likely develop farther east and northeast. But if it breaks a little bit earlier and the front comes through a little bit slower, that's when I think most of western Wisconsin could be at impact for seeing the strongest severe storms. And again, if storms develop and track through, they could become severe pretty quickly, because we're going to be dealing with a pretty good air mass and energy available for these storms to develop and quickly go severe. And again, as I mentioned, all hazards are possible. So please stay with the 18 Storm Track team. We'll keep you updated on that. Now, quickly, I want to talk about the third headline there that I talked about a few minutes ago, those gusty winds. Tomorrow could have wind gusts 25 to 35 miles per hour, 25 to 40 miles per hour on Friday. And there's a possibility we could see wind gusts maybe even exceed that in a couple of locations. Now, there could be some wind alerts that'll be needed, but as of right now, those chances look to be on the lower side of things. So high temperatures today, low to mid 80s across the area, upper 70s in Medford. Another very warm night today, lows mostly in the low to mid 60s, a few upper 50s east. Highs tomorrow well into the 80s once again. If we don't see the morning round of storms and we see more sunshine, temperatures could be a little bit higher than what you're seeing here, but otherwise will be either closer to 80 or will be mid to upper 80s. And then on Friday, the cold front comes through, a secondary one, and we'll see highs in the 60s and 70s. It'll be a little warmer south and east, and everybody cools down for the weekend. Highs in the 50s on Saturday, lows 30s and low 40s. Sunday around 60, lows in the 30s and 40s. So we could be dealing with some frost in the colder spots. And then we could see another chance for rain and maybe a few thunderstorms return Monday night into Tuesday and possibly Wednesday of next week.